Welcome to the Once Upon an Island podcast. I'm your host, Wesley, and of course, I'm joined by my co-host,
Mary.
And today we're talking about The Traitors, a new show that dropped on Peacock on January 12th. They dropped all the episodes at once, and it stars Cirie Fields and Stephenie LaGrossa from Survivor, and Rachel Riley, who we really know from Amazing Race, but she was also on Big Brother. I think she even won a season. And Cody Calafiore, who we did unfortunately watch the season that he won of Big Brother. It was very boring. But anyways, so yeah, we're here to talk about The Traitors. It's a show that's popular over in the UK. I think they even have an Australian version, but this is the first season they put in America. And we're going to do a no spoiler section. That's this section. Mm-hmm. And then we'll do a spoiler section where we talk about episode by episode, what happened, our thoughts. So I will very distinctly tell you when we reach the spoiler section if you want to remain unspoiled and watch the show, if you haven't done that already. And I will put chapter markers. So let's do this thing. Mary, The Traitors. Mm-hmm. Overall, good or bad?
Overall, good.
I agree. Overall, good. We will get really in depth as we go episode by episode.
That's all you need to know. Good.
Well,
Just kidding.
Well, because some people might be wondering, like, should I even watch the show? Yes, absolutely. Yes. I think you can get a free trial with Peacock, but like worst case, it's like $5 for a month. It's worth $5.
Yeah, for sure.
It's worth $5 to watch it, especially if you're watching for the Survivor Big Brother players. They really go hard. Like they treat it like it's a real game show. Some people on the show were not. Some people on the show were like, I'm over this after like 3 episodes, but not the Survivor Big Brother players. I don't want to say names yet, Mary, but
right.
We get to spoilers. We'll talk about them. Mm-hmm. But yeah, it's so basically for those wondering what is The Traitors. It's essentially a show of 20 people who go to Scotland, a castle in Scotland.
Right. You said this was set in America. Sorry, just to clarify.
Did I?
Yeah, it's American cast, but this one is set in Scotland.
It's in Scotland. Yeah. Sorry, mm-hmm. 20 Americans go to Scotland. Mm-hmm. I'm sorry if I said something different. You go to Scotland for, I believe it's 2 weeks. It's not, the days is not as important as like Survivor or Big Brother.
Right.
But I believe it's about 2 weeks. They go up to Scotland, and every day there are 3 people out of the cast of 20 that are selected by the show to be the traitors. And you do find out who they are. It's not like The Mole, if you've ever seen The Mole, where it's like we don't know who the mole is. Like the mystery of the game show for the players and for us is who is the mole. In this show, you know who the traitors are. Mm-hmm. And we won't tell you who the traitors are until we get spoilers. Mm-hmm. But yeah, so they pick the traitors, they show that to you, and then it goes basically the traitors murder somebody, then they all deliberate and vote somebody out. It's almost like a game of Mafia or Werewolves, I think that's what it's called, that you and I have played with like family and friends.
Mm-hmm. Well, there's also a challenge in between the murder and the banish.
The challenge, I mean, I know there's no spoilers, but the challenge is almost inconsequential because the traitors are not motivated to like ruin the challenge like it is in The Mole. And the mole is trying to keep money from going into the pot. Right. And whereas in this show, it's the opposite.
The traitors also want money to go in the pot in this show because they will, I guess the goal of the show is to eliminate all the traitors. Or
the traitors eliminate, or get the traitors to fool the other players into thinking that there are no traitors left.
Right. There's traitors and faithful.
Yeah.
If there is even one traitor left at the end of the game, the traitor gets all the money. But if they've eliminated all the traitors, the faithful get to split the money.
Yeah. Depending on how many faithful are left or how many traitors are left, because you could have all 3 traitors at the end. You could have just one or you could have none.
Right.
So yes, if there's no traitors, the faithful split it based on how many are left. It's grand prize is $250,000. Though the challenges are supposed to affect that amount. Because every challenge is worth so much money. But anyways, $250,000, a pretty penny. I'd say better than if you've watched especially the recent Netflix season of The Mole. Much better prize pot than that show.
Yeah.
That show was purposely trying to not get the money it felt.
Right. No, I was glad that they won money in the show. Mm-hmm. And I think the challenges, they're inconsequential as far as probably who would get banished or who would get murdered.
Yeah.
But how they presented it was, oh, you don't want to get banished or murdered, so work hard in the challenges, because traitors also want money. So if you're sucking at the challenges, you might get murdered because you're not adding money to the pot.
And we do see the traitors have their discussion, they have their own separate discussion before the murder of who they're going to murder, why, and it's pretty interesting seeing them do that. And then they won't tell us who they're going to murder. We then see the next morning and we see who doesn't show up to breakfast, and then that person's murdered, and then it's flashback to who the traitors picked and why. And so it does a really good job with that. The strongest parts of the show are definitely when somebody gets murdered and when they're at the round table deciding who we're going to vote out.
Right. Mm-hmm.
And because it was never, I don't think the whole season, I know it's no spoilers, but the whole season there was never a unanimous vote. There was never a like 10-1 landslide.
Right.
It wasn't, it's like Final Tribal or Big Brother in the sense of there's a final like discussion, but there's no host to be in charge of the discussion. They just kind of let them run with it. And the players do a pretty good job. And the show does a good job of shooting it and editing it.
Very well made.
Yes. What did you think of the host, Mary? Alan Cummings?
I loved him. I thought he was so fun. He was really funny. He had a great Scottish accent, and he was always just fun and mischievous.
He really hammed it up.
Yes, he hammed it up.
If you're looking for like a super serious
Did you
host,
not like him?
No, I liked that he was hamming it up. I'm saying if you're looking for a super serious host, that's not him. The show is generally it's funny because the show itself is like winking and nodding and kind of goofy, but like it's not. It's
because
the players are dead serious.
He has to come in and be like, "Oh no, so and so was murdered last night in their bed. Who will survive next?" So of course it's not just like, I thought it was much better than say Anderson Cooper, who would come in. And so was murdered last night. Okay, team, let's move on.
From the mall?
Yeah, from the mall. Like, completely deadpan. Yeah. Like, it's so much more fun to watch Alan Cummings.
Well, but he contrasts really well with the players who are, like, dead serious. Like, the players are not goofing off.
No.
Like, this is stressful. This is 2 weeks of stress.
It was very stressful for them. Every now and then he would make them laugh or whatever, which is nice.
He comes in, and he's just, like, kind of goofing with his, like, it feels, even though he is Scottish, it almost felt like an overly Scottish accent, like he was laying it on thick, like thicker than I'm sure his actual accent is from, you and I went to Scotland recently, and I don't remember anyone's accent in Scotland being that thick. So,
no,
he's laying on heavy. So yeah, we really liked Alan Cumming. I generally I don't know if I'm a big fan of, in a way, it's almost like fans versus favorites, like Survivor, in terms of like having half celebrities, half not, even though none of these people have played the Traitors before, because it did feel a bit unbalanced in that sense. Imbalanced.
I think part of it was because a lot of the celebrities already knew each other or had met each other.
And they've also been on reality TV, so they're used to being on camera and stuff.
Right.
This is new for
So like Cirie and Stephenie bond immediately. You know, they connect immediately.
They played on Survivor together.
Rachel and Cody immediately like dislike each other.
Even though they never played Big Brother together.
I'm just, you know what I mean? So they have like these reputations and relationships. So it's like they come in knowing, oh yeah, I think this person would be a great traitor. Or if this person was the traitor, they would be acting like this.
But it drives a lot of the drama, like the interesting drama.
It does. And so I think they did have an advantage, but then you could say that the non-celebrity people had an advantage too, because they could just kind of sit back and watch it all. Like there was already targets on these celebrities versus coming in and nobody knows who this person is. So, I think there's a couple, I know there's at least one person from The Bachelor. There's a show called Below Deck that we never watched. I think a couple people are from that, maybe 2 or 3. So if those shows sound familiar. Good Housewives. Yeah, the Real Housewives. Is that one of the people? Real Housewives, yeah. Yeah, Real Housewives. I don't know of which county or city it was, but yeah. So the casting was pretty good. I just kind of wish they'd either gone all celebrity or all new people. Personally, I mean, it worked out. And I also am not a big fan of them dropping all 10 episodes at once. Really wish they'd done 2 or 3 episodes a week versus dropping all 10 at once, because it really felt like, oh, there's no room for me to like go online and have a discussion with people after watching episodes. It's like I either watch the whole season or I don't, because if I go online and look up anything about the show, I'm going to get spoiled. Right. And so, unfortunately, after I think 2 days, and this is because I run a YouTube channel, that's the only reason I found people literally just cannot not comment spoilers. You know what I mean? Yeah. It's really annoying. So I already knew who won. I didn't tell you this, Mary. No. Mary's first review. I knew who won, but I found it after we'd watched the first 6 episodes. Oh, okay. But I think by the time we got to around that time, I started having high suspicions of who would win. So it wasn't I haven't even watched the show yet. But at the same time, I had to delete those comments. I'm like, come on, guys. It was literally on a post where I put no spoilers. What do you think about the Traitors season 1? That's like putting a big red button saying don't hit it. No, it's like, hey, be respectful of others, you jerks. You should be respectful of others.
And to be
Wesley.
fair, 95% of the people, I mean, I was like probably even higher than that, were it's just there's always a handful.
There's always one.
There's always a hand. In this case, it was a handful. But yeah, so that's it for non-spoilers, I think. Really wanted to...
Well, we're not going to talk about the castle or the challenges or the setting.
We're going through each and every single one of those things are in the spoiler section. Why would we overall said we liked it. We recommend it.
Okay, sorry.
The players that are in it, if you recognize any of them, watch it. Yeah, Cirie, Stephenie, they bring it. The Big Brothers players bring it. We really know Rachel from Amazing Race more so than Big Brother. I think she was actually better here than she was on Amazing Race. So, but all right, are you ready for spoilers?
Yeah, let's
do
go.
it. All right, this is your warning. We're doing spoilers in 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Okay, you had your chance. All right, so episode 1, we're in Scotland, 20 people, and we're not gonna go like this is not like a episode by episode breakdown that we do during a Survivor season. We're gonna more like a deep dive podcast where you and I cover like a whole season of Survivor in like an hour and a half. That's kind of what we're doing here for those. So we're not going to hit every single thing. Definitely let us know in the comments if there's something that you thought that happened in the show that was really worth talking about. But for us, I think right away we got to talk about who they picked as the traitors.
Yeah.
We got Cirie from Survivor, Cody from Big Brother, and then Christian, an unknown person to us because he is a new person. He's not from a previous show. What do you think of these choices?
Obviously, I think Cirie was a great choice. On paper, I think Cody's a good choice, but I don't remember much from his season.
Even though we spent like 3 months watching a season, yeah, I agree.
Right.
His all-stars winning season of Big Brother.
I think out of the Big Brother, because it was just him and Rachel. Out of the celebrities, he's better than Rachel for sure. And out of the celebrities, I think he was a good choice. If they wanted 2 celebrities and 1 unknown, I think they did well with who they picked. And then Christian, we had no idea who he was or what he was, going to be like. So overall, Christian was a fun traitor to watch. He ended up kind of crashing and burning at the end. Yeah.
Bigger than Cody did.
He really relied. We talked about how Cirie kind of just guided him the whole time. We feel like, and when she says we talked, means while we were watching. While we were watching, not like show. In some previous video. No. Sorry.
Yeah.
As we're watching it, we're like, Cirie is totally handling him really well. But as he got like more confident and cocky and kind of wanted his own way and did his own things, that's when he ended up messing up. So he was a really fun choice.
This is Cirie after playing 4 seasons of Survivor, and her and Stephenie were in Snake in the Grass. And I guess spoilers for Snake in the Grass. Jump ahead 20 seconds so you don't want spoilers for that one episode they were in, because it's like an episode by episode thing, not a season long thing for them. Okay, you had your chance. All right, so yeah, Cirie would have been a better snake in the grass. We saw Stephenie be a terrible snake in the grass, aka a mole, aka a traitor in that show. And Cirie was an excellent choice, but she's almost like dropping a shark into a sea of I don't know, like tadpoles. Like I don't know what the comparison is, but she is too good. She's better than Cody. Only one person I think the whole season even suspected Cirie, and it wasn't like a good enough suspicion to get any interest towards her.
Right.
Like how Cirie pulled off the end of this game.
Oh, it was heartbreaking. It was
like beautiful in the sense of it. To me, the Traitors, this season of Traitors, while it's an amazing win by Cirie, it's almost like watching Survivor Redemption Island, where it's kind of like Boston Rob just kind of dominates an entire cast of people.
Just too easy.
Russell went out super early, so it ends up being the Boston Rob show, and he just dragged goats to the end. Cirie dragged goats to the end, basically. She made smart decisions every step of the way. I don't think any point I ever thought, oh, Cirie, why'd you do that? There were points I thought, oh, why did the show do this? But I never thought, why did Cirie do this? Like she played a flawless game in the first season of the Traitors, but it's because she had so much experience. It's Cirie. If this was Cirie's first show ever, I'm not sure if she does this, but because Cirie in the first season of Survivor didn't really come into her own till near the end,
right? And
it was really Micronesia that put her, made her like who she is. But yeah, so I don't know. I think it was good decisions. Because if Cirie's a faithful, does she suss out who all the traitors are? That's my question. you know?
It seemed to be really difficult to figure out who the traitors were because there were no, like, you don't get clues like in Snake in the Grass, and everyone's pulling for the money. So
like if the show's edited differently and we didn't know who traitors were, you mean?
Yeah, it would be really hard to figure it out. I think the only thing you have to go on is kind of who votes for who in the round table. But even that didn't really work.
I would say, and Christian, I sorry for cutting you off here, but Christian, I would say is the only one of the, as if you've seen the season, one of the 4 traitors, which we'll talk about that twist later. Only one of the 4 traitors that really like makes it blatant, like, he's a traitor.
And Cody messed up too.
His was a bit more or less. His was less egregious.
It was very subtle. But so yeah, if you're looking for small things like that in conversations, it can come up. But it is I think it's really difficult to find a traitor. I think Cirie could have done it for sure. I mean, Stephenie. Well, Kyle kind of put her on the right track, but
Stephenie was almost like a shotgun. Like she was wrong so many times, but she was also right sometimes. Like, she was like a shotgun blast and the distance for a shotgun, you know, let's say ideal distance, like 10 feet away. Stephenie shooting from like 25. Like, sure, like a couple of the pellets from the buckshot hit its target, but like most of them missed.
Sure.
So Stephenie, though, I'm glad they didn't choose her as a traitor. We saw if you watch that Snake in the Grass episode with her and Cirie, Stephenie is a mess. I like Stephenie on Survivor. I think all 3 seasons, the episode she's in, she brings it. But on Snake in the Grass, she blew it so hard. But here in the Traitors, Stephenie, I was like, yeah, this is the Stephenie I remember from the first like 2 seasons of Survivor she played. Because the last one she played, she only lasted for like 2 or maybe 3 episodes, unfortunately. So
it's definitely possible. But I think that, and I think if anyone else could have done it well, it would have been Cirie. Because other people were close. But
heck, even in the beginning of episode 1, like they all get in the house, Rachel says Stephenie is the worst liar ever.
Yes.
Because Rachel was also on that Snake in the Grass episode, and she knows.
Yes.
Also, what are the odds of Rachel, Cirie, and Stephenie being on 2 reality shows within the course of a year that are both different, both new to us, American audiences, and like all 3 of them... How do they end up on the same like kinds of? It's like the same type of show. It's not like one's a cooking show, you know.
Right. I have no idea.
They all have the same agent because their agent did a good job. If they do,
right.
Okay. So before we go through every single part of the season, I don't want to forget this. Which 2 survivors would you want to see on a future season of the Traitors? If you don't have an answer right now, it's okay, because one of my answers, this may shock you, is Boston Rob. But you make him a faithful. You can't make him a traitor.
Yeah, he would be way too obvious as a traitor.
No, I don't even mean that. Even if he's a good traitor, I just think that I think Boston Rob would be more interesting as a faithful, because Boston Rob under duress is a lot more interesting to watch, in my opinion, than Boston Rob in control. Him in control is like he puts his foot on everybody's throat and stops it from being fun. When he's under duress is when he does. I
just think he's getting too old. Well, I don't think it would stress him out as much.
Maybe. Yeah, he might be so chill about it, be whatever. I just think if I'm going to pick somebody and they're looking for draw, Boston Rob has to be one of them. Apparently, Angelina Keeley from David vs. Goliath was contacted, but she was pregnant. Wow. She said that on Twitter, and I was like, that would have been funny. Especially, could you imagine Angelina trying to figure out who the traitors are with her investigation skills?
I can imagine.
Yeah, like you know what? Just because she said that, that's my other person. I think
Boston Rob and Angelina.
Yeah, I think it'd be a funny. She would be funny, and those 2 don't like know each other, so it wouldn't be like Cirie and Stephenie, where they like inherently already trust each other.
I think that I would watch almost anyone on the show. I think
put Sandra on.
I think Christian would be fun.
Christian Hubicki,
he would like wear suits every day and have a magnifying glass. I can just picture it. That could be fun. Sandra would be fun to watch.
Sandra as a faithful would be fun to watch because she would call out the BS. You don't want her as a traitor.
I feel like she would do about as well as Cirie as
Underdog
a traitor.
Sandra is more fun to watch, in my opinion, though.
Sure.
Because she gets like really loud and like really goes at people. Though as a traitor, you're right. She could be covering up. I just don't know if she'd be good at covering up that she's a traitor.
I mean, Cirie, she backstabbed her own mother. She would
be
the greatest traitor of all time.
Thank you, Mary. Cirie once voted out her own mother. She'd be a great option. Just based on that, I mean, she traitored her own mother. Wow, what a traitor. Sammy's 19, so don't forget that. All right, yeah, so that's our segment on what survivors would be in this. We'll try not to get too much into the survivor part, but okay. So Rachel calls Stephenie the worst liar ever. This is the first episode. So before we even get a murder, all the traitors have been selected. We see a selection ceremony where everyone's like eyes are.
They have blindfolds.
Okay, I was gonna say the eyes closed. I was like misremembering, like eyes closed. Why would you cheat? Yeah. So the traitors don't even know who each other are. So they're doing this first challenge, which is like, can you explain this light a fire challenge, like lighting up the?
Yeah, they have these 2 massive statues that they had to light up. In order to light it up, they had to find enough rope and tie it together and soak it in the oil. After they unlocked the oil, and the key was like way out in a lake, and it was kind of Survivor-esque. It was very intense, kind of physical as well as puzzle. I liked it. I liked all the challenges in this.
Oh, really? All those challenges? Some of them were very puzzle centric, and Mary,
I love puzzles.
I'm more strategy focused. We have learned over the past year or so with Mary and I playing board games and whatnot. And Mary's very puzzle centric. Like we do an escape room, that's Mary. We do an escape room, I'm bored out of my mind. But if we're playing something like Gloomhaven, which is a board game that's very strategic, Mary's like, I don't care about this.
Bored out of my mind.
Yep. And I'm like, oh, Mary, what about this? I'm like, what if we get the big game which has 95 scenarios? Yeah. So we have different strengths and weaknesses, which is good.
It also felt very Scottish to me. Like I feel like it was very.
The lighting a fire challenge?
Yeah. That's like bonfire. He literally said in the opening how it was like a Scottish tradition to burn one of these statues, not a huge, massive one.
Yeah.
So that was fun too.
What if it's a Scottish tradition to burn people at the stake? Should they do that too? You like how I just escalated that? Mary just gave me the dirtiest luck. All right. So they do the light a fire challenge. It doesn't really matter who wins because the money goes into the pot no matter who won.
Right.
That's why kind of what I meant earlier. I said the challenges are kind of like.
But somebody who was really annoying and yelled at everyone during the challenge was the first murder.
During the challenge, Cody literally says, I cannot, something along the lines of, I can't stand Christian. He's really annoying, really loud. And then they have a thing where all the traitors get to meet each other for the first time. And Cody's like, oh,
boy.
Great. Yeah, Christian's one of the traitors. So I thought that was, and by the way, when we say Christian, we're not referring to Christian from Survivor. I know earlier we said Christian from Survivor.
This is unknown.
He was not on this season. Yeah.
No.
So, basically, they discover each other at the end. They kind of get to talking, and then the cliffhanger episode 1. And I'm like, how the heck are they going to murder enough people? There's only 10 episodes. I'm like, how are they going to get enough people out of the show? There's 20 people, and we got through 1 episode with the cliffhanger. Because the show's clearly edited knowing that you're going to binge it, which is smart because it's on Peacock. It's not on like NBC or whatever. And the Mole kind of did the same thing where they'd cliffhang it. Like it doesn't have a normal structure like Survivor does, where it's like, beginning of episode, challenge, camp life, challenge, then tribal. And we always get an episode which ends with a vote out. Here, sometimes it ended at the round table. Sometimes it would end right after you decided who to murder. Like it was very infrequent all over the place, but in a way that made you want to keep watching. So that was good. Personally though, I think we watched 10 episodes in 3 days. This is why I wish we could have spread it out more. I wanted to do this podcast within a week of that season coming out. That's why I say I wish we could have. So it's partially on me, but yeah. So that first episode ends. Beginning of episode 2, Reza is the first person killed. He's a celebrity from a show. I want to say it's Below Deck. I'm not pulling up the cast to look this up. I don't care enough for that. But it's one of the celebrities gets murdered. It wasn't Stephenie or Rachel. So that's all that matters.
And the traitors said that they picked him because he got into it with another cast member during the challenge.
But he also seemed to have influence. Like he was loud. I did notice the people who were loud and had influence were targeted by the traitors for the most part, because they would do their random eliminations to throw people off.
Right.
As well. But I guess it's something, if you ever get to play the traitors or you get to play Mafia in general, being loud and having influence in the group will get you targeted by the traitor. So you better be darn sure you're getting out a traitor when you vote. So they eliminate him. And then Christian, I don't know what specifically he did, but I wrote Christian is acting super sus. Though to be fair, the whole season he kind of acts super sus because we know he's a traitor. And Christian never acts like he's worried about being murdered. Him and Cody, by the way, this is why I think we all like Cirie. Cirie does not put on an act when she's playing. Like she knows how to look concerned or look worried, but Cirie's not like, and for those listening, it's even watching the video, how you can see this, but just imagine the kid from Home Alone slapping his face when he does the shaving cream. Aftershave. it's kind of like that's the face Christian and Cody would make a lot of the time.
Yeah.
When reacting things. And it's like, all right, just like chill. Like
Right.
Come on. Like, especially Cody. Like, Christian is an eccentric guy with a lot of energy.
Yeah.
I expected more from him. Cody, it's like, kind of feels like you're putting this on. So I've never been a huge Cody fan. I don't have anything against him, just not a big fan of him. But Cirie like never does that.
Right.
Which makes her, I feel like, way more relatable. Like, even if I'm shocked, I never slap both sides of my face and go, oh, what? No. And acting like, you just found out that your husband cheated on you and has 3 other families, in Seattle. I don't know why they're all in Seattle, but that's where they're at. Like, that's the kind of face Christian and Cody would make.
Definitely overreact. I think Cirie one time was like, they're just bad B actors.
Yeah.
That's what I came across.
Yeah, it doesn't make you seem believable. Especially, thankfully, most of the time Cody would do this stuff. Most of the time he would do it when it's just like the Traitors together, and they would get surprised. So he didn't have to act more normal around them. Right. But it definitely felt like he was putting it on. I gotta say, after watching season 2, I feel like the castle gave them permission to like film in like 4 rooms. I was like thinking back, I'm like, we always saw like the same like hallway or 2 and talking like same like 3 or 4 rooms. I bet you like the upper level was like off limits. That's what it felt like watching it. There was no going upstairs unless that's where they slept.
I'm sure.
Which is possible.
I'm sure they slept upstairs. And we know from experience how those castles can look bigger on the outside than from the inside.
If you've ever seen Downton Abbey, it is not as big in real life as it is in the show.
Outside, it still looks massive.
Oh, yeah.
But yeah, all the rooms and everything are small.
Because they restricted how many rooms they could shoot Downton Abbey in at that. At the what was it called again?
Highclere Castle.
Highclere Castle. Yeah, we went and visited there. It was super cool. They let you do like a tour inside. We didn't get to take pictures inside, but yeah, no, I would say if you've ever seen Downton Abbey, it looks a lot bigger on the inside in the show than it does in real life. Though, as people who have filmed things, meaning you and I, like short films and whatnot, we know how that's part of the trick of the trade. Making places look grander than they are, smaller than they are, part of it. So.
And this wasn't like a cinematic experience. It was well shot. So I'm not saying that these rooms were tiny and they did some movie magic to make them look bigger. I'm sure that they were like, we really only have room for, these are old castles. There aren't, usually it's like a lot of smaller rooms.
They were not built for the Traitors.
Yeah. A lot of smaller rooms and not like, so there's probably only a couple big main rooms that they could use. So I'm sure that's part of it too. So
I will say that I am highly, I told you this while we were watching it, I highly think, I highly suspect is what I mean, that the room where they do have the round table is a set. I'm not saying it's a set in the castle. It could be a set in the castle. It feels like a set in terms of, while sure, I mean, I'm not saying they took them back to the U.S. to shoot it. I'm saying they may have built something right outside the castle, right behind the castle. I don't know. But I wouldn't be surprised if they did, because like that room is designed, and you even see it sometimes in the background with like a shutter moving or whatever, but like it's designed for like 50 cameras to be in there. But yeah, somehow at the same time, there's walls everywhere, because there's like, if you watch the show, and I'm putting some screenshots as we're talking, but you'll see like, I call it black bars, but really it's like, there's the wall, and then all of a sudden there's like a line of black on the sides of the wall. So that's where the cameras are. They need them, obviously. So there's no way anything in that Scotch castle is designed like that.
Right.
I think that room was made.
I'm sure that room was a set. Yeah.
Yeah. And then the room where the Traitors talk also feels like a set to me. And by a set, I mean also a room made specifically for the show. Mary shakes her head and doesn't agree with me.
I don't agree.
But I'm also thinking, okay, where are all the cameras for this as well, Mary?
Yeah, but there were only like 2 angles for the Traitors room.
They only needed like 4. They needed one of all 3 of them, and then one individually of each of them. And they had those. They had 4 cameras. Where do you think 4 cameras in that room, Mary?
I know, but the round table room looked newly built. That room looked like an ancient part of the castle for them all standing
I'm highly
around.
Suspicious of it.
And I think they found it like, this is such a cool room. This is where our Traitors
By the way, this does not take away from the show at all. They needed to design these rooms like that.
I thought it was cool.
But the rest of the castle is legit. And you can tell by the way, the rest of the castle's filmed. That's legit. So anyways, Christian Super Sus, they have the second challenge is this like hide and seek buried alive challenge.
Yeah, that was pretty intense.
One of the better challenges. Can you explain this one?
So they divided up into 3 teams. Well, first they divided in half, and one group got buried alive, and then the other group got divided into 3 teams.
Yeah.
And each team had to solve a set of riddles by following a map, and then their last riddle would lead them to the graveyard where they would dig up the graves. And I don't remember how much each person, got them money, but like once one team dug up all their people, they could help another team. It wasn't like they just had to stand around. So
yeah,
that one was really fun.
One team actually failed, and it was the one team who actually got to the graveyard first.
I think, yeah.
Once again, a graveyard they made for a challenge, not a real graveyard.
Yeah. I mean, they really
Obviously.
got buried, but I'm sure they had some sort of air supply. It wasn't that
they
bad.
had little, each of them had like a little flashlight. So you
a
could
flashlight in a walkie.
the signs inside of their grave.
Right.
So I wrote down, this is the episode where Brandy, I think she's from the Real Housewives show we were referencing. Brandy is on to Cirie and Christian. I believe this is the only time all season anybody's on to Cirie. Anytime somebody got onto a traitor, I wrote it down in my notes. The vote, we then learned, we go to the round table for the first time in episode 2. The vote is not secret. It is a public vote. They all write on chalk and say it out loud in front of each other. Unlike Survivor and Big Brother, where it's like, there's not like a host reading them off. The host tells them what order to start in, but they're all sitting at the table and they sit, I believe, in the same order every single time. So like, that's why Christian at one point later in the show is like, I'm sitting next to Cody. Like here, because I think they were sitting next to each other all season. But anyways, so the vote's not secret. So therefore, when you vote, you get a chance to explain your vote. I always found that part unnecessary, but it's whatever. Sometimes it caused drama.
Right. I think that was supposed to help you decide who the traitor was, because if you had a reason for voting someone out or not. But
yeah.
anyways.
Oh, could help you if you're a
could
faithful
help the
suss
players.
out who the traitors are. I see. And maybe in other seasons and other shows, that's how it's happened. So the first person voted off is Geraldine, a non-celeb who, in my opinion, didn't really. I mean, what'd she do? I forgot.
They said that after everyone took off their blindfolds, after they picked the traitor, that she went from being calm to like shaking her leg and being jittery. Yeah, that was their only.
That was like all they had.
Yeah, but to be fair, there's really not that much to go on.
And to be fair, they only spent. It's like one day.
It was one day
between each vote. This isn't like Survivor or Big Brother. Big Brother they get a week. Survivor they get like 2 or 3 days depending on the episode. Yeah, one day is like, it's really hard, especially when like, I'm sure a good chunk of the day was the challenge. So yeah.
Getting ready for the challenge, confessionals.
Of course. So here's the interesting part to me is when they get voted out, the person who gets voted out goes to what's called the Circle of Truth, which is at like outside of the round table. They stand there, and then what Alan Cumming asked them is, are you a traitor or not? Or are you a faithful or whatever? And almost everyone goes on to say like 3 sentences before they answer the question. I'm like, shut up, answer the question. Just say if you're a traitor or not. Yeah, I don't need to hear anything else. Unless you're going to be salty. That's okay with me.
Well, almost all of them were salty, so.
Kate, I mean, like,
there were a few that were.
Yeah, I haven't even mentioned Kate. Kate's my favorite person from the season who I had never seen before because she is such a mess.
Yeah,
she's terrible. Like, never should have been on the show, but I love that.
No, she added a lot of drama to the show.
I'm saying that she didn't even want to be on the show after like episode 2, which is the episode we're talking about right now. So, anyways, the Circle of Truth is like kind of annoying in terms of people talking. I wish they would just answer the question and then they could say whatever they want. Sure. But I'm waiting, like, just come on, just say if you're a traitor or not. Get the reaction, then say whatever you want. That way, it's like. Or if you're gonna do like the fake out where it's like I believe when Cirie won, she's like, I'm a faithful at heart, but in this game I'm a traitor. Like that's a good way of revealing. There's no like BS before that. But okay, so the Geraldine gets eliminated or gets voted off. We then have the traitors all meet together and they're like, okay, it's time for our second murder. The first one could if we murder at this point Brandy, who's on to us, it'll look super sus because her and Reza, I believe, are like close. So if we eliminate Brandy, it's going to look like, there's a pattern. So they eliminate this guy named Bam or Bam Bam. I forgot.
Just Bam.
Bam. Okay. I always wanted to say Bam Bam because it seems like a name you would say twice.
Well, Bam Bam's the name of somebody in Survivor.
Literally literally no reason. They just said, we just want to eliminate somebody randomly.
Basically.
I feel so bad for Bam. He did nothing wrong. Not a single thing.
But if you're traitors, I think that's how you should do it. It shouldn't ever be, I had a fight with someone. Obviously, don't vote that person out.
Well, he wasn't even like onto them or nothing. He was just like a casualty of war at this point. So sorry for Bam, Anyway, so then they have a music challenge. I did not write notes for each of the challenge in terms of what they were beyond that. Do you remember what the music challenge was?
So they again divided into two teams.
Oh, this is the one where they go to the church?
Yeah, one team went to a church and the other team stayed at the castle. So the team of the church had to play the bells so one person had to conduct them and tell them how to play the bell. And then the other team had to listen to the bell, run into the house and find a music box that matched the sound of the song that they were
This one
playing.
I liked, though the songs were pretty simple.
Yeah, it was the ones you'd probably recognize. But you have to remember, this church is miles away, and they're like catching little bits of it at least a mile
really
away.
Good at this challenge.
Rachel was really good at it.
Yeah.
And Cirie was pretty good at listening. So I remember Cirie listening and hearing it, and Brandy being good at hearing and recognizing.
And Rachel was good as well, but Rachel was not on the receiving end. She was on the sending.
Yeah.
The sending was the easy part for those actually making the music. The receiving was the harder part.
It does help to know what song you're doing, because they would play it like one time kind of like haltingly, and then she'd be like, that's Ode to Joy, and everyone's like, oh yeah, da da da.
Yeah,
da,
then
da,
they
da,
know what speed to go.
Yeah.
Okay, so it doesn't really matter if they win. I never wrote down if they won. It doesn't really matter.
They did. They got all the money on this challenge.
Oh, good. I'm glad they got all the money on that one. All right, so then this could not have gone any better. At the round table, Brandy gets voted off.
She got banished. Yeah, but before this, Brandy and Kate are talking about who the traitors could be, and Kate starts writing down on a piece of paper.
Yeah, this is good to mention because it comes up.
Names of people that they suspect or don't
Because they don't want to say it out loud for whatever reason.
Yeah, I guess somebody was in the room next to them or whatever, so they're trying to be quiet. So she was like, just write it down and I'll read it.
They're writing down names, and then they're putting up to each other's face and saying yes or no or whatever. Right. Trying to make it so that nobody could overhear them.
Right.
Anyway, so that's important because after Brandy gets voted off for being suspected as a traitor, and everybody's like, what? She's not a traitor? I'm like, wow, that was the best way to get rid of her for the traitors because, by the way, at this point, the show is riveting. I want to keep that in mind because at some point, the show takes a downward turn for me.
Oh, really?
I mean, you should be able to know when it was. I was pretty vocal when we were watching about when it went downhill. Okay, Mary's giving me a look and she has no idea. All right, we'll get there, I guess, when we get there. So Brandy gets voted off. This is riveting. Stephenie finds a note with the murder list from Kate. It's like Kate, it fell out of her pocket and she was sitting on it at the round table. I'm not 100% sure. Mary thinks it was planted. I think that it's so I'll defend Survivor in terms of a lot of the decisions they make. I cannot defend the show. I don't know anything about how it works. I feel like I know enough about how Survivor works, hearing so many interviews and whatnot, to know what's legit, how the show, this I cannot fully explain because
it probably wasn't planned. It just seemed very convenient.
Yes, the convenience was too much. It added a lot of drama. It doesn't make any sense for Kate to
carry the paper around with her
because there could be no trash cans. We went to Scotland. Remember how there's no trash cans anywhere?
There are trash cans. They're living in a castle.
I'm trying.
It's not a public place.
I'm just saying. Remember when we went to Scotland? There's no trash cans anywhere.
Scotland had more trash cans than London.
No,
you got it switched.
No. Scotland, we were at the train station. I had to walk for 20. People are like, are we listening to them do this? For 20 minutes, I had to walk around to find a trash can. You couldn't go into the bathroom. There's no trash can in the bathroom. Believe it or not, for those who are in the UK, you already know this. But for those, for Americans, this is unusual. You go almost anywhere. There's at least a trash can at anywhere. You just ask an employee, hey, can you throw us? Like, it's everywhere. And I don't mean there's trash everywhere. There's trash cans everywhere. In London, I know they don't have them because apparently people are trying to throw away their bombs in them. They had bombs. They're like, I probably shouldn't have this. I know it's against the law. So they just tried throwing it away. And unfortunately, it blew up on people. I don't know how that happens. So actually, cannot take credit for that joke. I heard it from a teenager I met in
London.
UK. So it was a pretty good joke. And now I've taken it as my own here in America until he comes to visits. So anyways, she finds this murder note from Kate, which immediately puts suspicion on Kate. This is the point in the game where Kate goes from, because she was kind of Brandy's lackey, from caring about the game and me not really noticing Kate as much to becoming the central drama figure of the season. Because even Rachel, who is naturally drama, is not the central drama figure. It is Kate. Through the time she gets voted off near the end. Mm-hmm. Kate is this. And at first, it's like the 5 stages of grief. I don't accept it. I don't like it. And by the end, I accept it. I accept the Kate. I accepted Kate by the end.
Oh, I thought you meant Kate's journey through the castle.
Also, her journey, because Kate definitely has the same thing. 5
she went
stages
from
of grief
pouting to anger.
Mm-hmm. She goes through the 5 stages of grief while flying over like the 2 weeks.
Yeah.
From Brandy being voted out and Reza, who I believe was 2 people she was closest with, and she's just like angry. So, we then see Azra get eliminated by the Traitors, another non-celeb. Do you remember the reason she got eliminated?
I do not.
It doesn't really matter. All right, so I think she was another. To be fair, I think she was another random elimination, like Bam. They want to do another one out of left field to keep everyone guessing. This point, Cody, Cirie, and Krishna are on top of their game. Mm-hmm. Okay, so then they have a Wheel of Trivia Doom challenge I wrote, which actually this might be one of my favorites of the season.
This was pretty good.
And they basically have like this. Is post-apocalyptic the right word? More like a horror themed, like not Ferris wheel.
Carnival.
Kind of carnival Ferris wheel thing.
Well, that's like a Ferris wheel.
They put them on there like their full body and they're just spinning around. It's kind of like if you ever saw the Survivor Challenge where they had people like be spun on a wheel and duck into water, put the water in their mouth and shoot it out into a bucket, minus the water and people dunking into the water.
Right.
They're just spinning around answering questions. Spinning around. Wow, my English is amazing. Probably should go back to the UK and learn some proper English. So yeah, they're spinning around. They answer questions. This one was just kind of like a fun one to watch. It also had, and I believe this one was my favorite because it had the most strategic value in terms of how you answered questions. At this point, there's this guy named Michael who for like 3 episodes has just been ragged on by everybody. Mm-hmm. Everybody thinks he's a traitor. And at this point, he has like cried and like he has shown to me way too much to be a traitor.
Yeah.
Like at this point, this guy named Michael, who's a non-celeb, is not a traitor. Like I don't need to know who the traitors are to know he is not a traitor. Of course, I'm just watching the show. I'm not living with them.
Right.
But from what I saw on the show, like this guy's not a traitor. There's no way. If he's a traitor, like he's either playing the worst or best game at the same time, and he wasn't. He wasn't that good. That's why you knew he wasn't a traitor.
Yeah.
And it's also that's why.
He was just really awkward and didn't know how to talk to people well and kept changing his story about things.
Yeah. But the way he would, and that was enough for people to put the target on him because I believe he's going to get voted off this episode anyways. Yeah, he gets voted off this episode. But anyway, so during this Wheel of Doom trivia challenge, like Cirie just takes it upon herself. Like she's like, I don't actually think I should be answering Michael, but because that's what everyone else wants, that's what we're doing. You know, it's like there was a lot of strategy in that challenge, and I hope in the future there can be physical challenges, but can there be an element of, the traitors could screw this up and give themselves away, or people could there needs to be something during the challenges, something more than just like you're winning money, because as we'll learn, I mean, we're in the spoiler part. The money in these challenges does not matter. There's a final challenge to pick up all the remaining money they hadn't gotten so far anyways. Right. And Alan Cummings would randomly round up the money, which I did like.
He did one time.
He did it twice. The second time was not as funny as the first. He was like, we're at $15,900. You know what? I don't like saying that. It's $16,000 now. Like, that's fine. It was funny the first time. And then he did it again, like next last episode. And by that point, I was like, oh my gosh. I was like, I don't know. I was also, you
were just done with the show.
Dude, there's a point. So anyways, the show is riveting. We're in episode 4 right now. Michael gets voted out. And then I wrote, and then we finally get some infighting between the Traitors. I put infighting when Cirie prods Cody from Ryan, or maybe I put about Ryan, because Cirie wants Ryan out.
Right.
And Cody's kind of buds with Ryan. He swears he's never met Ryan in his life, and Cirie suspects differently, and the show does not confirm or deny anything.
Oh yeah, Ryan Lochte. He was like the weird celebrity because he wasn't on any.
He was an Olympic athlete.
Right. He's an Olympic athlete, but all the other celebrities were reality TV show celebrities. He's
like
he was so funny.
He's a professional athlete.
I wish he'd been around longer because he was just he was like wandering around the castle the first day looking for hidden passageways. Everyone else is talking and strategizing. He's like, I'm in a castle in Scotland. There's going to be a hidden bookcase somewhere around here. So that was funny.
Yeah, he was just there to have fun, which we always need people like that. That's why I said earlier in this podcast, I'm like people from Survivor and Big Brother came to play. Then there's some people who are kind of goofing off, which I appreciated as well. And then there's some people who going through the 5 stages of grief, which is Kate. But yes, Ryan. So Cirie wants to get rid of Ryan. Cody's like, no, we can't get rid of Ryan. She's like, it's because you know Ryan outside of this game. And he's like, I've never met Ryan in my life. And it's like, I don't know. Is Cirie right? Like, does she know something we don't? Like, why did she think this?
Yeah, it was a little weird. Like, they were immediate buds, which is not strange. That happens a lot on stuff like this, I think.
It happens with guys. I'm sure with women, too.
Yeah, it just happens. And so, but for some reason, Cirie wanted to break them up. And I'm thinking, Cirie, this isn't Survivor. It's not like...
Yeah, I was a little confused. That
It's
was
not like they're a power couple, you know?
Yeah, why does it matter? They can't vote together. I mean, they can vote together, but it's not like the same. Though, to be fair, I guess now in retrospect, he could have swayed Ryan to vote off Cirie because the traitors are allowed, as you know if you're in the spoiler section now, the traitors are allowed to vote each other off. Mm-hmm. Like, they can. Like, it's not advised to tell the other traitors you're doing that, but you can do it.
Sure.
So I guess that is an option, is she could be worried that... Because I think by the end of the season, Cirie basically dragged 2 people at the end that trusted her wholeheartedly.
Yes, and that was
and Ryan could have been Cody's wholeheartedly.
Mm-hmm. True.
So at the moment, it didn't make sense. But I think now in retrospect, thinking about how the season played out,
Cirie's smart.
Because you and I are watching this, I don't know how it's going to end. I'm like, is there some sort of like, not final tribal, but like how does this end? Like, how does this end? I didn't realize it makes sense now that we've seen it. But at the time, I was like, I didn't want to look it up because I didn't want to be spoiled. I was like, how? Like, where's the end goal? You know, like what happens in the final episode? So, yeah, Ryan gets eliminated. Cody's bud. Cody, then, this is the first time we're in episode 5. Cody then blows his cover to Kyle. Can you explain this moment?
Well, basically, so Cody, Kyle, and Ryan all kind of hung out a lot together. They
Kyle, I believe,
buds together.
Is he a non-celeb?
No, he was a celeb. He's on a reality TV.
Yeah, he's from something.
Anyways, so at breakfast, after everyone finds out that Ryan had been murdered in the night, Cody leans over to Kyle and said, you know, I didn't want to mention this to anyone. He's like half whispering. But as we were going to bed last night, Ryan said he thought you were a traitor. It just really... out of the blue, random, and didn't tell him at all until after they find out Ryan's been eliminated. So it just seemed and he was acting like really weird about it. There was just no point in lying. Like, Kyle knew Ryan well enough in the game to know that he didn't suspect him as a traitor. Mm-hmm. So to just randomly throw Ryan under the bus after Ryan had been eliminated was weird to Kyle.
Yes. And this is for somebody who got second place their first season of Big Brother and then first their second season. Basically getting second and first. Like, he's played a lot of Big Brother. You think he would know better. This is a much shorter game. It's high pressure, but it's much shorter to not like, why do this? Like, why say anything?
Right.
You know, or at least if you're going to do it, don't say it when everyone else can potentially see you.
Right. Well, and it's also like, well, so what are you thinking? What do you mean? Do you think that, like, in Kyle's mind, this is what I would be thinking. Mm-hmm. Okay, Cody, so Ryan supposedly told you I'm a traitor. Do you think I'm a traitor? Well, like that, yeah. Now that feels like I have a target on my back and you put it there.
This is the first strategic blunder of the trio. Christian's kind of a goof, which isn't a strategic blunder. It's just his personality. But this is the first strategic blunder that we see of the trio of the traitors. And yes, why is Cody throwing 3 names out there? It's a lot of names.
Yeah, it wasn't just Kyle. He said he mentioned you and...
It doesn't matter. He's
2 other people.
None of them being the traitors, of course. Mm-hmm. But when he says this, it's kind of like, yeah, why would you say Kyle to Kyle? Of course, obviously. And then why would you throw 2 other names in there? First off, just pick one of those 3 names that's not Kyle. And then you could be like, I wonder if Ryan was eliminated because he was on to insert name here.
Yeah, exactly.
And that would be it. Just the one name, not 3, and definitely not. I'm sure Cody himself would acknowledge this was a mistake.
Right. But even so, okay, so we like Ryan, but he was obviously not really there playing the game. You know what I mean? Yeah, and Ryan, we saw Cody and Kyle and Ryan hanging out a lot, having strategy talks, and Ryan was never like, oh yeah, I think it's this person. Oh yeah, I think it's that person. And why would
Ryan not tell Kyle this? Which is why I think Cody threw Kyle's name in the mix. Kyle's like, Kyle even knew like Ryan, it was not like a strategic like thinker. Like he was here to play, sure, but he wasn't like...
He was here to have fun. He probably wasn't even...
He's probably good at... He probably really there for the challenges, probably. I mean...
Yeah, I don't know. Yeah,
Ryan, it's the wrong person. It's the wrong person.
Right, exactly.
Yeah, and Kyle's like... this is when Kyle steps into the limelight of the episode. Though, conveniently, this is also the episode where he gets voted off. I'm jumping ahead a little bit, but... Okay, but we have... the riddles in the church challenge. Can you explain this challenge? This is episode 5.
So this one, they're divided into 2 teams. And again, the teams don't really matter because you win the money and everyone gets the money. All goes in the pot. But each team is standing up at the front of the church, and they have a really large book in front of them. And the church is filled with people wearing gold masks, so you can't see their faces, and it was a little creepy. But they have to, the timer starts or whatever. They run back to Alan, who's sitting in the confessional with a booth in the back. And Alan will give them a paragraph and a line, and they have to go find it in the book. And then that sentence will give them a riddle, and they have to solve the riddle to find the person
This is the kind of
in
stuff
the
Mary
crowd.
would be good at.
Yeah, I solved it like every time as soon as the first line or 2 is read. So
Mary would be really... So in Survivor, I think you would be better than me, likely. But in this show, 100% Mary, you'd be better than me. I would
just at the puzzle part.
No, dude. As a faithful or as a traitor, you'd be better than me. Because you'd be low key and you wouldn't be like, I'm too loud and outspoken. Yeah. I would get killed by a traitor, or I would make a Christian-esque, which we haven't watched yet, Christian-esque screw up as a traitor. Like, I know myself too well. Give me another 5 years, maybe I'd be better. But as of now, that's what I would do.
Yeah.
So, anyway, this is a good challenge. Mary really enjoyed it. I didn't care. That's why you and I are good. Even on Survivor, I'm like, okay, Mary, what's the challenge? Because unless something happens during the challenge that's important to the story, like Gabler going on about Idaho or whatever, then I don't really care mostly of the challenges. So anyways, so this is a surprise. No one is murdered at the end of this episode. Kyle gets voted off because he's apparently he's been redirecting a lot and he's like, all right, guys, I know we're talking about this person, but let's get off track from that and look at somebody else. And people were really catching on to that, namely Quentin, who I think this is a good time to bring Quentin into the talk. Quentin is a non-celeb. Quentin is somebody who I think I would definitely want to hang out with in real life. He's super cool. He seems very intelligent. He's very well spoken. He is absolutely horrible at this game, though. I looked at the stats, Mary. He votes correctly out of 11 times voting. How many times did he vote correctly?
Probably once.
0.
Oh, really?
0 times he was correct. He never ever once voted for a traitor. I don't mean correct in terms of voting with the group. I just mean he voted 0 times for a traitor. Both times a traitor was voted out. He does not vote for that traitor.
Right.
Bro. And he also never throws a vote on a traitor at any point, even if he was in the minority. Yeah. Also, Cirie plays the first ever perfect game in the first season because she got no votes against her.
Nice.
If this is like Survivor and that's how we judge a perfect game. No votes against her. I would say maybe a perfect game would be a nobody even suspects you, but that's how are you supposed to control that?
Yeah.
Getting no votes against you is, I think, is the game.
No, she played basically a perfect game in my opinion.
Yeah, she played a perfect game.
Yeah, Kyle, I think, so Kyle brought up Cody. He was also really direct, I think, in things that he said. So he didn't think it was Kate, or he didn't think it was... leader. Yes. So he would come out and say, I don't think it's this person. I don't think it's this person, and be very not aggressive about it, but kind of, and just be very confident about his answers. And so people were just really suspicious of that.
So this night, nobody gets murdered. And the reason being is because Amanda, who is a non-celeb, she wears these red glasses. That's how I remember her. Has to leave, and they don't tell us why. She didn't do anything on the show that we know of. And she posts, and I looked online. I'm like, why did Amanda leave? And she said that she will post about it soon on her Instagram, but she can't do it yet. So I don't know when soon is. Maybe it's to avoid spoilers. Because if she posts about it, that would potentially spoil part of the season because she does make it halfway through. So no one gets murdered. So instead they do this thing where it's to make up for the fact that she has to leave, not because of COVID, because I think that would have affected way more than just her.
Yeah.
So they let the traitors, I guess, put people, what I'll call, if you've ever watched Survivor, Big Brother, on the block. There's 3 people on the block to be murdered at the next one. I don't know if that, by the way, I was confused. I didn't know if that meant that they couldn't murder anyone else. Nominating these people means that these are the only people.
Yeah, those are the only 3 they could
so
murder.
it almost in a way, it was the traitors are telling you, hey, the next episode, here's who our options are for murdering. And they nominate Kate, who at this point is going through her 5 stages of grief still. She's gone full blown. I don't care about this game. Screw everyone, especially as apparent in this episode. But she's really in her screw everyone phase. Rachel from Big Brother and Angelica, who is a non-celeb and almost a non-factor this season, so we haven't really talked about her. These people are on the block. Kate's like, good, please murder me. I've been trying to leave this game. Rachel's like, I can't. What? Don't murder me. Rachel's like bawling, and then Angelica is not worth mentioning. So
actually, Angelica was the one crying. Rachel was actually calm at this point. Yes, calm? Yeah. We commented on how Rachel was really calm and collective.
Most
almost
of the time.
The whole until her banishment.
Yeah. Once she realized she was going to be voted out, she went all out. Rachel, having only seen her on Amazing Race, where I was never impressed by her on Amazing Race, she was much more impressive here. I could see how this Rachel could have won Big Brother.
Yeah.
Could have. But I could not see the Rachel from Amazing Race winning anything. I was like, how did this girl win Big Brother? So
right.
Apparently being in a house with food and not running around the world is the key for Rachel. Don't put her on Survivor then, because a lot of no food there too. So then they have a barrel challenge. Can you explain what the challenge is? And we'll talk about fan favorite Kate.
Yeah, so this challenge, they have a point A to point B, and along their path, they have to collect these barrels. And so as they're collecting, they have a big barrel that's $1,000, but later on they find a barrel that's even bigger and it's $5,000. So they kind of have to pick how many barrels they're going to be able to roll, because these are massive barrels, which ones they should take with them and which ones they shouldn't. And along the way, there are 3 barrels that are armory passes, which allow the 3 people on the block, three people in general, to go to the armory to get a chance at a shield to protect themselves from murder. And this is the episode where Kate, she gets a bunch of little barrels that are like worth $600, $700 each, and she just randomly throws them away.
You know what? If I was there,
because she said she didn't want to win money for the Traitors because she knew she wasn't going to make it to the end. She's like, I'm
going to be voted off or murdered, so it doesn't even matter. I'm going to throw money over the hill. And personally, if I was there, I'd be so mad at her. And at one point, Stephenie even like snitches on her to the host.
Yeah.
But Alan Cumming does not care.
Well, what are you going to do about it? Yeah.
He doesn't care. Yeah. He doesn't really care. It's not like Jeff saying, and Kate's blowing the challenge by throwing barrels down the hill.
Right.
No, Alan's sitting on a
chair,
a recliner, a chair, like a really nice fancy chair, drinking scotch, I believe, or something very elegant, while commenting on the challenge with funny jokes.
Yeah.
Alan, really, this is one of his better commenting challenges, I would say. Because he's just like making so many dumb jokes. And I don't know if he's writing these or somebody else is, but either way, good job.
Yeah, it was good. So well, he can't be writing them. He was making them up as he went, I think.
Yeah. I don't know if they're pre-written or if he made
them up because Kate was just walking behind. Everyone else was running at the beginning. There's, full sprint running, trying to find the first barrel. And Kate's just leisurely walking down the hill. And he's like, there's someone in the back of the pack wearing pink. Could it possibly be Kate? And it's just it's just really funny.
Well, yeah. And as somebody, okay, so but that could have been filmed afterwards. That's all I'm saying.
That's true. It could.
It was not filmed.
Right.
It's not like Jeff where you see it like happening and players are in the background.
Correct.
It was a solo shot of him and in the chair. So, anyways, this is not to knock the show at all. I'm just saying I don't know if these lines were written and so they had him say it. Which, by the way, either way it works.
Either way it was good.
Either way it works.
Yeah.
Or if he made them up, but I was saying either way. Good job. Yeah, Stephenie. This is Stephenie at this point. Has not really gotten on to any of the Traitors. In fact, I think at this point she's already admitted that she believes Cirie is definitely not a traitor.
Right.
Cirie, no way. Stephenie knows Cirie.
But she knows Cody is a traitor because when Kyle was she was the only one that stuck with Kyle. We haven't gotten
that yet.
No, we know because when Kyle was banished, he told her before he was banished.
Oh, sorry.
It's Cody, and she was like, she has been suspicious of Cody for a long time.
Okay. Yeah, she gets on to Cody saying things like, Cody, if I were a traitor, I'd be acting the same way as you, which is true based on what we saw in Snake in the Grass and what we see on Survivor. Stephenie's just not a good liar. Stephenie isn't even that good at challenges.
She's good at this challenge.
Stephenie's just a character, and I enjoy Stephenie for being a character who looks like she'd be amazing at challenges, and yet still generally isn't. Like, she's like okay in team settings. We watched Oolong fall apart, Mary. Don't tell me she's good at challenges. We then saw her not win a single individual immunity. Like, Stephenie is not good at challenges. Mary's giving me the wrap it up, move it along signal, but no, I'm making a point of this. Stephenie's not good at challenges. She's super in shape. I really like Stephenie. She's not good at challenges.
Okay.
All right. Let me make sure. But I like Stephenie. I'm going to be very clear. Been a fan. Definitely a fan. So We have the barrel challenge. Christian and Cirie. This is the turning point for the season. Not turning point for me in terms of bad. This is just a turning point in the season. Cirie and Christian consider voting off Cody at this point. This is a huge turn. No one all season had considered voting off another traitor. Like, the traitors had not considered voting each other off at all. Because, remember, part of this show is, if you haven't seen it or if you have seen it, part of the show is you split the money. If there are 2 traitors or 3 traitors at the end, the traitors split the money.
Yeah.
So, ideally, in an ideal world, you would like to be the only person at the end as a faithful or as a traitor. Because I think that's interesting. We have not seen our seasons, but let's say there's just like 3 faithful at the end, and I knew everyone's a faithful, I'd be like, I wonder if I can get rid of one of these other people to make the pot bigger for myself. You know?
Sure.
Even if no one there's a traitor. So that's a strategy I'd be interested in seeing if anybody pulls off, and either whether they fail or not. So they consider voting off Cody, and actually they do vote for Cody. And I could pull up I'm sure there's a wiki for this. I'll see if I can pull it up. But I believe Cirie and Christian, if they do not vote for Cody at this vote, Christian doesn't go. I believe this is Rachel goes to this vote. Mm-hmm. Because even though Kate wants to be voted off, I think everyone's kind of accepted that there's no way Kate's a traitor. Sure, she's terrible for them as a team, but she's not the traitor.
Right.
So can you talk through this vote? Because this is a big one.
Well, I don't remember much about it because we watched all of them back to back. But I do remember, I think it was just obvious that Cody had such suspicion on him at this point. So if I was Cirie and Christian, I would have also voted out Cody, because you don't want that suspicion thrown back on you as fighting for Cody, and then he gets up there and says, I'm a traitor.
So sorry. I just pulled up the wiki on the vote. Are you ready? Mm-hmm. It was 7-3 to 1. So my apologies. If they had voted, because that one random vote for, who was it for? There's 7 votes Cody. So if they put their 2 votes from Cody onto Rachel instead, it's 5-5-1.
There would have been a tie.
It would have been a tie, and we did not see any ties in the season. I don't know how a tiebreaker works. I don't know if they try to argue not to vote them out. I think what it could have been like a revote situation, and the 11 people who vote then have to revote only for the 2 people, and therefore there couldn't have been a tie the second time. Mm-hmm. So,
and that's possible. I'm just saying it was so obvious at that point that it was Cody, and that so many people believed it was Cody. Even if, for example, Cody wasn't the traitor, it was just the majority was going that way. Mm-hmm. And if, like I said, once he gets up there and says, yeah, I'm a traitor, you're going to start looking at the people who didn't vote for him or who try to save him as being his partners in crime. So I think it's just the best decision for them to go ahead and vote him off there. No,
it's only 7 to... Where are they getting 7-3 to 1 at? I'm looking at the votes. There was one random vote for Kate from...
Quentin, yeah.
Quentin literally... Quentin, I remember that. As I said, would be such a cool guy. Terrible at the game. He literally votes for Kate when everyone else votes for Cody or Rachel. Yeah, so in a revote, they would have... I'm sure they would have been revoting for only 2 people who actually got votes. I assume. So, anyways. Cody gets voted off. This is a huge moment. We are now down to 2 traitors. And Cody... Like, I thought Christian was going to be voted off earlier. I didn't think Cody would go before Christian. Yeah,
we assumed Christian would make more mistakes, but he didn't. Nope, up until that point.
At this point, Christian's just kind of a goof. Cody gets voted off. It's huge. So then it's just Cirie and Christian, and they decide to eliminate Angelica, somebody who, as I said, is basically a non-factor. Mm-hmm.
And at this point, which they don't know it, so Angelica and Rachel and Ari go to the armory because Kate didn't care about the armory pass. She didn't want it.
Andy?
Ari.
I forgot there's like a couple people with similar names. Throw me off.
So Ari, yeah, because Ari got the shield, and he was the only one to get the shield.
Ari, yes. Ari. Okay, yes. I was thinking of a girl because we have a cousin named Ari. Never mind.
Yeah, so Ari gets the shield the first time, and they don't know that. The traitors don't know who has the shield, but they go ahead and choose to vote off or banish Angelica, and she doesn't have the shield.
Very briefly, we should talk about the shield. The shield's kind of like individual immunity, mm-hmm. but in this case, it's not individual immunity, and everybody knows about it. As you said, it's like they don't know who had the shield.
Right.
So, and I wasn't a huge fan of how they implemented the shield. I do like how it works. I'm down for how it works, that if they try to stab you, you don't die. However, I'm not a fan of, okay, let's go into a room and randomly pick a box. And that's how we, like, there should have been a mini challenge or something.
They had to get the barrels along the path. And then the next time it's like the winning team gets the opportunity to go to the armory pass. But yeah, it was really, once you got access to the armory pass in the challenge, it was super easy. You just went in and picked up a chest.
It could have been something as simple as Alan Cumming reads a riddle and has them finish the riddle or solve the riddle, and whoever solves it first gets this shield. Like, it doesn't have to be something expensive for the show to do, but there should be a challenge to get that shield, not just randomly pick a box. Which, by the way, they reuse those shield boxes at the end when they pick
the pouches.
Yeah. When they pick their pouches, I noticed that. Not that it matters. I just notice when things get reused like that. So Angelica gets eliminated. Then we get our next. We're in episode 7 now. Show's still going strong, by the way. We have eliminated a bunch of people, but the show's going strong. We then get a challenge that I wrote down. Ghost spot the difference. Oh, is this the one where they go in the room and it goes dark?
Yeah.
Okay. Can you explain this challenge?
So they go into the billiard room and they have to study it. They have like 1 minute they can study it. So there's stuff everywhere. It's all messed up.
There's a lot of stuff.
Right. And so then the lights go dark for however long, and then they have to find out what's been changed. So, this was here, now it's here. This was full of red wine, now it's white wine, so on and so forth. So real life spot the difference. Now there's only 3 things that have changed, but there's like 50,
not moved, but
50
literally changed.
Things in the room. Yeah. So it was really difficult.
Challenge. Between the 3 teams, I think was it only 1 item that was spotted?
Only 1 item out of possible 9 items.
Yeah. It was it's probably a challenge that needs to be tweaked if they do it again. It's not a bad challenge. I just think I agree with you. Like, there's too many things for them to look at. But you know what? So many of the challenges had been easy. I was kind of down for a hard challenge.
Yeah, this one was hard.
But as we learned, it doesn't matter.
It did matter.
All the money was able to be picked up at the end. That's all that mattered. So anyways, it was a hard challenge. Not my favorite, but it was okay. So then Ari gets the shield a second time. At that point, I'm a little sus on this whole shield business, but we literally saw people go in there, pick up a box, and it didn't we saw it happen, and Ari was always the last one to go in the room. It wasn't like if Ari was the first one to go in and got the shield every time, then I'd be okay. I'd be like, okay, what the heck? But he was always the last one. Everyone else had their chance. They didn't grab the one with the shield in it. Though, if you want to get super like, how deep does this iceberg go? Could it be that all 3 boxes didn't have the shield? The other 2 people go in, pick it up. There's no shield for them, obviously. And then the third time, knowing Ari's going in there, there's the shield.
They could have.
Why would they do that?
I don't know.
I'm not saying they did. I'm just saying, there is a way to rig it.
Of course.
It was just, I only got suspicious, not when he got the second time, when he got the third time in the next episode, in episode 8. So, anyways, Angelica's eliminated. Okay, Ari gets shield again. Kate tries to vote herself out of the round table. And I do mean, she wrote down her own name. I am 99% sure that's how it went. Production told her no, so she had to erase it and write somebody else's name. I do not think Kate wrote it down, then erased it herself, then wrote somebody else's name. I think somebody told her you can't vote yourself.
Probably.
Because Alan Cumming would not have done the vote reveal, and then she votes for herself, and he's like, no, you have to change your vote. I think somebody told her, like, hey, you can't vote for yourself. Because as I said, there's like 50 cameras in this room. Like, there's one for each individual player. There's one for like the whole room. There's one for like a few, like they guys like a ton of cameras. So there's a ton of people. The round tables are, there's a lot of people there. So she tries to vote for herself. This is when Kate becomes icon status for me. Like, she wasn't just talking that she wants to go. She really wanted to go. Yeah. She was like a teenager who didn't get her way. And
she was complaining about how hard it was to be at the castle.
Yeah.
And be gone from home and
man, it was stuff. Like it's like Survivor.
Yeah, it's so hard to live at a castle in Scotland with free food and
3 meals a day, nice accommodations, beautiful Scotland. Man, this is torture. Yeah. I love how she's like, I don't do challenges. I like sitting around and talking or something like that. To that effect. So, Shelby gets voted off. My recollection, she didn't do anything wrong to get voted off. Right. Just people suspect she was traitor.
I think it was because she voted with Cody. And it was. And then after Cody was banished, everyone was super ecstatic because they finally got a traitor. And Shelby was just, I guess she was shocked. So she just kind of sat there. So
I've heard, I went on the Traitors Reddit. Thankfully, I have not been spoiled any season. going there because I just want to read about the U.S. season, what people thought. And on there, people talked about how in other seasons, the Traitors will blow themselves up like early. So this is probably the longest Traitors have not blown themselves up with Cody going episode 6.
That's good.
So, well, I'm kind of interested to know how the Traitors blow themselves up now. I want to watch the British seasons.
Yeah, me too. That'd be fun.
Apparently, they're not here in America for us to watch on any streaming services. Somebody needs to fix that. Get it on a streaming service. I'll pay to watch like the British version because, yeah. So, anyways, Shelby gets voted off. Here, at this point, when Shelby gets voted off, I am on board. We're through 7 episodes. I really have been enjoying the season. I'm all on board. I'm ready to binge the rest of it. Mary just realized what I'm about to get to. This is when the show takes a downward turn for me. I immediately go from, oh, I love this show to, oh, yeah, if they didn't do this would have been a great season. Mm-hmm. They have a twist at the beginning of episode 8 where the Traitors get to pick someone from the faithful to become a traitor. And I could not believe that they did this in episode 8 and that they did it while they were still true. Like, I would get it maybe if it was just Cirie or just Christian as a traitor. I could understand it.
But even so, like, that's the point of the game.
No, it's so late to add a traitor.
Well, that too. But I'm just saying the point of the game is to eliminate traitors. And
that's so unfair to the faithful.
Yeah, it was really unfair.
It's so unfair. It's so unfair to the faithful. If it was episode 2 or episode 3, like that's the latest I would allow this twist with 2 of them there. Mm-hmm. With 2 of them there, adding a third, like, okay, Cody, let's say Cody got eliminated in episode 2 and they gave him a twist to add a traitor in episode 3. Okay, maybe. Like, I could deal with that. But like, we're talking about episode 8. Because they pick Ari has already established himself to be a faithful. He's acted like faithful. He's had no reason to even. So no, why would anybody after 7 episodes suspect him? Mm-hmm. He's had too much time. His first impression with everyone, everyone else met the traitors. Like they were all interactive for like maybe like half a day before they were selected as traitors. Mm-hmm. So sure, everyone got their first impression, but then, they've had a lot of time with the traitors acting as the traitors. Ari gets to go from faithful to traitor. I know you agree with my basic point here. It's just like, it's such an unfair twist. This to me sours the entire rest of the season. And from then on, I was way less interested. At this point, it felt rigged for the traitors. Yeah. They could do the same twist, same episode every single season, all the other ones. And maybe it works there. But here it was like the traitors are doing fine. They don't need a third person. Mm-hmm. Cirie and Christian have got this. They don't need a third person. It was so unnecessary. Right. I would rather see Cirie and Christian try to ride this out. Now, if Cirie and Christian... Now, if all 3 traitors have been eliminated, I get it as well. You need to finish the show with at least 1 traitor at the last episode. I get if all the traitors were eliminated. Or if it was just Cirie and it's earlier in the season. Like, it's just too late for this nonsense. Right. This is like a dumb Survivor twist. Yeah. Where everyone's like, why did they do this? Mm-hmm. Ugh. This is where the season goes downhill for me. Like, the first 7 episodes are great. Like, the first 7 episodes are riveting television. The last 3, I'm like, okay. Right. So, Ari's recruited to be a traitor. Apparently he had the option to reject it, but why would he do that? Yeah. You're
guaranteed to make it to the end, basically.
It's like the hourglass
You're not going to get murdered.
Of Survivor. Like, why would you not take immunity? Obviously, it's what you're going to pick. Why would I not be a traitor? Like, obviously, that's the more fun way of playing this game. Mm-hmm. Like, the fact that producers got to pick who the traitors were, I thought was interesting because we got to see it. But, yeah. I wrote down badly balanced twist. It's understatement of the year. I didn't even know yet. Mm-hmm. Christian openly volunteers. Okay, but the only interesting part that comes out of this is that the next morning at breakfast, because I don't think they murdered anybody. That was their thing for that episode, is they just picked a traitor. They didn't actually murder anybody. Christian openly volunteers to the group at breakfast the next morning. Hey, the traitors tried to recruit me, but I told them no. Yeah. I got a letter and I told them no. And then Kate's like, where's the letter? Yeah. That was so obviously dumb. Christian didn't have a letter. He was like, and his explanation later was, I thought about it all night and I was like, it's kind of a bad idea. But then I woke up and I went, screw it. I'm going to do it.
Yeah, that was all.
That was his reason.
That's your reason. No reason.
Oh, by the way, I'm pro Christian. I like Christian.
He was fun.
I like that they didn't pick like 3 super strategic people to be the traitors. Like there was 2 and Cody and Cirie, and then Christian was the wild card. Mm-hmm. And they knew it. Right. They knew it. Yeah, so he does this. This to me is a lot more egregious than anything Cody ever did. Mm-hmm. Cody, I felt like almost got voted out. It was dumb. People were already going to vote out Cody anyways. Yeah. But Christian, like, bro, like, this is what I mean. Like,
blatant.
We didn't know who the traitors were. I think I could have Christian would have been figured out here by me as well. Yeah. And by you. Mm-hmm. Cody maybe would have been figured out, but yeah, definitely Christian. So then they get probably your favorite challenge of the season, but you can tell me if it's different. They have an escape room.
Yeah, I liked it. It was so short.
You like the shortness of the challenge?
No, I didn't like the fact that it was so short. I liked it, but it was so short. But to be fair, if I was in there and bugs were raining down on me,
go ahead. I would explain how this was.
So again, they did 2 teams, and then the 2 teams were divided. So there's 8 people left at this point. Mm-hmm. So teams of 4, and each would have a separate cabin that they have to go into. So there's 2 sides. 2 people go on one side, 2 people go on the other side. And then the key to unlocking your side is on the other person's room. So they had to communicate through a can and a rope, so basically they're just yelling through the wall.
Yeah, basically.
Yeah, at each other. So the key to unlock the girl side was to count how many mice were in the boys' side. And so, but they didn't really know that. They just had a chart that said, brown, white, anyways. But while they're trying to figure that out, there are
raining
bugs, like
Hallelujah,
tons of bugs that were still alive, apparently, some of them.
Oh, definitely.
Because they were being bitten. And poor Andy had like a mental breakdown.
Yeah, I wanted to talk about who was going crazy and who wasn't, because this was a little...
Cirie was going... Yes. It was so funny because Cirie was freaking out, and it was Kate that was like, we're gonna do this, come on, which was
Kate, the one who's throwing challenges.
Yes. And then
hold on, I want to pause on Cirie, because I want to mention Cirie. So this is something whenever if the patrons pick it to happen, eventually if I ever cover Cirie, like from Panama to this season, this is like almost like circling back. The first episode of season 12 of Survivor, she's afraid of flipping over large leaves because there might be bugs underneath them.
Oh, that's right.
She literally was like acting like a little girl, like freaking out about possible bugs getting on her. So it's funny. Here we are 15, 16, 17 years later, and she's still freaking out over bugs.
Well, yeah, you don't just get over so. That was a lot of bugs.
It was a lot of bugs.
It was disgusting.
But then you cut over to the other 2 who are getting bugs rained on them, Rachel and...
Andy.
Was that Andy?
Yeah.
And Rachel, completely calm.
Yes.
Rachel, the same girl who freaks out over almost anything in Amazing Race.
I was so shocked, and it was so cool because I think she went like mama bear mode on Andy.
Yeah.
Because Andy just couldn't cope. And so Rachel was having to cope,
Rachel
to get them
2 or 3
through.
kids. So she kicked into mom mode.
Right.
Yeah.
She kicked into mom mode. So...
But Cirie's also a mother.
I know. I think Cirie even said mommy at some point because I don't think it was Kate. It could have been Kate.
Yeah,
but
I don't think Kate
it was
said mommy.
Cirie.
I think it was Cirie.
Oh man.
Cirie went from like a full grown adult who's like a shark in this game to a little girl in a matter of like minutes.
It was pretty funny.
Anyways, if we ever do like a full blown video covering like all Survivor, Snake in the Grass, and this, which I saw obviously something I have in my brain I'm throwing out there. It has to be picked though. By the way, the reason for picking things is because Mary's giving me a look. I say this because like people are like, why don't you just do it? And it's because I've literally scheduled the whole year, and I know exactly like how much time I've allotted for like every single thing that's going to come down the pipe. So like I already know I've like scheduled all this out, so I know when I have available, and I know that I don't have the amount of time it would take to do this outside of the scheduled time. It's just like I don't have it. So if it's picked, then it falls into the time I've scheduled for the videos that are picked by patrons.
Right.
Yeah, I can't do videos picked by patrons and then do these like other ones because I would be working weekends. So yeah, I definitely want to do it. So if it gets picked, I'll definitely do it. Like I'm looking forward to it. All right. So then at this point, Rachel and Kate are at each other's throat, metaphorically, not physically, as Kate thinks Rachel's a traitor or doesn't care. Rachel definitely though is all in on Kate being a traitor. Rachel could not be convinced anything else.
Right.
Cirie, since Brandy, has not been suspected once.
Right.
I'm surprised nobody's here by the way trying to vote out Christian after the way he was like so blatant. But I think Kate and Rachel have been a long time coming, whereas Christian's kind of like new information. Right. And it wasn't big enough it wasn't like big enough, even though Christian's clearly a traitor, somehow that's less tantalizing to vote out than.
Well, I think at this point too, also there was just so much drama between Rachel and Kate. I think people just wanted it to be done.
Which is dumb. You're only at the round table. This is not Survivor. You're at the round table to vote out traitors, not to vote out people you're done with.
I know.
But it kind of felt like that in a sense.
But also, I think they did think, okay, one of these people is a traitor. It's just unfortunate that neither of them were.
One person at one point even said they both could be traitors.
Yes.
And this fighting could be a cover-up.
Yes.
And I was like, if that was the case,
I think that was
would be
Quentin,
some
wasn't it?
expert level.
I don't know.
It could be a smart. Well, once again, Quentin is wrong because that's not what was happening.
It wasn't.
But I'm saying if it had been, this is why like Quentin is smart. He was just so bad at this game. Like Quentin is a cool dude, but he was so bad at this game. Whoever said that though was like, it's like, yeah, but that's under the assumption that Kate and Rachel have the capacity to do that, and I don't think they do.
Right.
I don't think they have. Maybe Rachel, maybe. I think Rachel would get in a fake fight, but I don't think you have to also be a good actor because they were not.
They were genuinely did not
mad at
like
each other.
Yes.
So you'd have to be a good actor to act that genuine, or at least look that genuine about how much you do not like the other person. So, yeah, Rachel here gets voted out, but not without like blowing up on everyone on her way out the door. Which Mary knows me. That's my favorite kind of eliminations. Mm-hmm. Yep, I like as long as all drama is in-game drama. It's not like outside the game. Like we're not bringing real world problems into the like totally on board. So my favorite kind of eliminations. Unfortunately, that night, episode 8 ends. Unfortunately, that night, Stephenie LaGrossa, fan favorite Stephenie LaGrossa, gets murdered.
Oh, I thought you were. Yes, that was unfortunate. No, I was just thinking Christian and Ari are walking upstairs to go to bed, and Christian says, "Good night, everybody. Traitors are going to bed." Like an idiot.
Yeah, that's just dumb. Unfortunate is when something I didn't want to happen happens.
Right.
I was kind of hoping Stephenie would be at the end. Not for her to win, but for her to be at the end.
Yes.
She does make it, though. She makes it at the beginning of episode 9, or at least the end of episode 8. So Stephenie, I was worried Stephenie was going to go early in the season. She had a good run.
Yeah, she did.
A couple times she even threw strays out at who actually, like Cody, she was on top of. Mm-hmm. And then Cirie, though, she never thought Cirie. She was on to Christian as well, as she should have been.
Yeah.
So Stephenie wasn't bad. Like after Snake in the Grass, I was like, Stephenie's awful. No, she's
just
had a
not a
bad
good
2 days on
liar.
Snake in the Grass. As the snake, yeah.
Yeah, she's not a good liar.
Yeah. Remember earlier when I said, hey, skip 20 seconds ahead for no Snake in the Grass spoilers? Skip the whole podcast, apparently. That's what I would say, because I just keep randomly saying it. It's just one episode, though, and it's been out for like 6 months. You've had your time to watch it. All right. So I keep saying a lot. I need to stop that. Now that I've said it, people are going to notice. All right. So Cirie and Ari want Christian out. At this point, I'm like, after that twist, I'm like, who cares? Like, who cares? Just do it. Mm-hmm. Like, who cares? And I kept getting confused on how many votes were left, too. Because they kept saying, like, there's only tonight and tomorrow night. But I feel like they said that, like, 3 times. So I wasn't, like, sure how many votes were left.
They only said it. A player said it once, and then Alan said it once at the right time.
Yeah. A player was wrong. It's probably Quentin who said it.
No.
No, I'm joking about Quentin being wrong about everything. I'm sure Quentin didn't say it. Anyways, so they throw Christian's name out there. Christian, and this is the downfall of Christian is like so fast. He then is like going around saying that Ari's a traitor, but like he's doing it like in front of Ari.
Oh, he said it to Ari.
Ari's witnessing it.
Yeah. No, he said it to Ari because Ari and Quentin and him were all in the library after the challenge, I think. And they were all like, okay, it has to be Kate tonight, right? And Christian said, yeah, if it's not Kate, then I don't know who it is. It's probably Ari or you, Quentin.
Right in front of Ari. Like this is a 3-person conversation. It's Ari, Quentin, and Christian.
No, that's what I'm saying. He said it's either you, Ari, or you, Quentin, to both of them.
Yes.
Like, you just don't. That's not how you play.
Like Quentin's so bad at the game, he doesn't.
Sure.
If this was anybody but Quentin in that room with them, they might have. But it was Quentin.
Very
so
suspicious.
Okay.
And of course,
bro, Ari rightfully is like, what the heck, bro?
Yeah.
Like,
yeah.
Or if you're gonna do this, like, obviously you wouldn't do it in front of the person,
right?
So. I'm surprised he didn't throw Cirie's name out there while he was at it.
Yeah.
It could be me, Ari, and Cirie. Because he would do that a few times when he's getting too cocky.
Yeah.
Like, oh, maybe I'm the traitor.
Right.
But, like, not in, like, it's even in joking in the game, I don't think you say that.
No.
So, then they have a laser room challenge. Can you explain the laser room challenge? This one, I like the concept. I don't think the execution was perfect, but.
Yeah, it was a room set up with lasers and treasures. And you had to get through the laser room and grab a treasure and get to the other side without hitting a laser.
If you trip, I think they as a group had 10 minutes. Every time somebody tripped the wire, not only were they out, but they took a minute off the clock. Mm-hmm. So Cirie got through successfully once. Christian took literally 2 seconds to get eliminated. Mm-hmm. We get like a whole confessional from him where he's like, all right, I know I got to be like really stealthy and blah, blah, blah. And like he's about to get eliminated. 2 seconds later, Like, he doesn't make it about 2 feet and before he hits the laser. He's like, I hit the laser? And everyone's like, yeah, you idiot. People are over Christian at this point. Andy, apparently, but we have not mentioned Andy because Andy's basically a non-factor all season here till the end. Andy is a non-celeb. Her and Quentin are equally on the Cirie train. They are Cirie's goats, as we learned by the end. She is dragging them to the end because they do not suspect Cirie. So, beautiful by Cirie. Andy is like beautiful at this. Even though you mentioned she's kind of, to me, she's kind of tall. I thought she was smaller because the way she moved through is almost like she was like a small, like, you know, thin person. But no, Andy's like actually a little bit, she was a little bit taller. So she was really good at this challenge.
Quentin made it through the first time also.
Quentin, a bigger guy.
Yeah.
Not bigger, fatter, just a bigger guy made it through successfully too. Cirie made it through successfully.
Yeah, we said that.
Also, not a small person. Cirie's not lost weight.
You just have to be careful.
So, Cirie's been about the same size since we first saw her in Panama. So,
but Kate and Ari and Christian didn't make it. Yeah.
Well, to be fair, and Kate actually was doing pretty well. She did trip.
Yeah, she almost made it.
It wasn't like she wasn't throwing the challenges anymore.
Right.
Somewhere around episode when I think when Shelby got voted off, Kate finally went back into okay, I'm playing the game for real. I couldn't tell if like she had a change of heart overnight or if somebody's like, hey, stop trying to be a jerk. I don't know. But either way, Kate went through her acceptance phase of the 5 stages.
Yeah, she got to her acceptance.
Because episode 3 through episode 7 was Kate not caring.
Right.
It felt like. And then episode 8, she finally, all right, I'm back in this. So her 5 stages of grief probably took 5 episodes. Yeah, so that's how we end episode 9, which was kind of a lackluster end to episode 9, but episode 10 is a long one, or longer one. It's like an hour, 10 minutes, whereas the rest of these were like 45 to 55 minutes. So Christian is voted out. They do it. They vote him out.
Yeah.
Easy peasy, lemon squeezy. People were like, yeah. And then when he reveals he's a traitor, keep in mind, the faithfuls do not know how many traitors are in the game. We know there's 3. And I don't know if in all the UK versions there's 3. So therefore, there's a precedent set. Because if I'm going to go on a show called The Traitors, you better believe I'm doing research on what other seasons are there, how many traitors are there, you know, like everything I can find, even if I don't get to watch it because it's impossible to watch over here without like, I'm sure some sort of illegal links. So Christian gets voted out 4-2. Once again, because Cirie and Ari vote, in this case Ari, vote for the traitor goes. Otherwise, he doesn't get eliminated. It would have been Kate.
Right.
But Kate was too good of a shield. To like they kept dragging her. Christian would not have been eliminated.
Also, Christian was way too obvious. You want once the traitors start that downfall, get him out.
Yeah.
They're a liability.
Yeah. Well, I'm saying Cody could have been saved. Like I'm not sure how the revote would have gone. For a fact, Christian, they could have brought Christian to the end. They had the numbers. That's the bad thing about adding this Ari as a traitor. They had the numbers, basically. Quentin and Andy were on Cirie's side. Kate was the only, like, person. Though Quentin here could not vote for Christian if he wanted to, because he still votes for Kate.
Yeah, he voted for Kate.
Because he was on the, like, Quentin, man. All right, so Christian's voted off. Then they have a helicopter ride. This last mission I wrote down is for all the money. Oh, boy. And I put, oh, boy, sarcastically.
I wish it would have been more difficult.
I wish it had not been for all the money.
They did. No, I wish it would have been for all. I'm glad it was for all the money.
But it needs to be way more difficult.
But it needed to be more difficult.
Yeah.
I mean, they took them down to like the very last second to get it all. But so it was attainable.
Can you explain? I gotta say, there's quite a few times where it felt like it took them the last 10 seconds to do something. I got a little sus on the timer in that case. There's too many times in this season where I was a bit like never in Survivor. Maybe once or twice where I've thought to myself, are we sure about that? Like, that feels a little off. Because I think so much of that show is driven by the players, like everything, where there's like there's not a timer in Survivor to finish something.
Right.
So you can never be like, the show, like, flubbed the timer. Here, there's quite a few times where I'm like the show clearly wants them to succeed, whereas the mole felt like the opposite. The mole felt like it was setting them up to fail.
Right.
Here it feels like they're setting them up to succeed, or they're kind of like parents like encouraging their children, like, yeah, you won the game, even though you like actually lost the basketball game. You know what I mean? Yeah, your team won. No, you actually lost, but like we're not gonna tell you that.
Anyway, so the final
Mary's
challenge.
not into my conspiracy theory.
No, I'm into your conspiracy theory. You go on too long about it.
Oh yeah. That
So
sounds
final
like me.
challenge: Ari and Kate are in a helicopter. They have to jump out of a helicopter into a lock and get 2 numbers, release 2 numbers, so that Quentin, Andy, and Cirie can use the combination to unlock a map to find all, and then they get a speedboat and they use the map to go around the lake to find the money. It's super easy, just laying right there.
And they don't even drive their own boat, so it's kind of like whatever.
And the twist was there was one more really big bag of gold, and they didn't know where it was, and they had Kate and Ari had to solve a riddle to get the final location, which it was a super easy riddle.
It was more of a visually interesting challenge because it actually required some travel, whereas most challenges were in one location for the most part. So in that case, but yeah.
I just wish the gold had been like they had to dig it up or they had to solve another riddle to find it or something. Early episode
challenge.
Yeah.
Not a end game
the
challenge.
Final. Yeah. It should have been more difficult for a final challenge.
This is one thing Survivor usually used to get back when they had a bigger budget. They do like the huge maze that ends with the puzzle challenge, or Amazing Race does when they have their final, like, okay, you went around the whole world. Can you identify all these places you went to with like these pictures or flags or whatever? Like Amazing Race and Survivor kind of figured out like what's the final challenge need to be in terms of the importance.
You need a wow factor.
And even now it's kind of become the fire making for Survivor. But here there was no like, oh yeah, this is a final challenge.
Yeah.
So yeah, this is the one thing I hope the show can fix in its second season. I hope they get a second season. Despite my issues with the twist does not tank the whole season. Yeah, so I hope they can fix that, but they need to fix the challenges. I think the challenges should literally have some sort of something to them other than let's win money. I almost feel like the pot should just be $250,000, and the challenges, maybe winning a challenge gets you I know I'm pulling this from Snake in the Grass. Maybe get you a clue about who the traitors are.
That's what I was thinking.
But in that case, the challenges need to be harder as a result. They cannot be almost guaranteed. Like I don't think there's a single challenge. I think like overall they won like 95% of these challenges. Yeah. So the challenges would need to up their difficulty as a result. And you get a hint as to who maybe not like a traitor is, but all three. Because like, let's say you just get a hint to Christian. Well, that's not fair to Christian. Why is Christian get a hint against him? What did he do wrong? So I'm not sure how to do that. That's not my job. I'm not making the show, but I think that's one tweak I would make. Is to just make the pot $250,000. It's fine because that's clearly what they wanted. That's what they did. They rounded up twice during the season to get the number up, and then they have a challenge worth exactly the amount of money they didn't have left in the pot. So just make the pot $250, which is fine. I like that. It's a good pot. It's a good number to make after 2 weeks of work. So for a game show. So all right. They win the challenge. Yay! Whoop-de-doo. Kate gets voted off because Ari and Cirie. I gotta say, the night before, Cirie's like, no matter what, Ari. No matter what I say or do, just know I'm on your side, which is bullcrap.
Yeah, because Ari wanted to vote out Quentin.
Ari wanted to not vote out Kate.
Yes.
But Cirie was the deciding vote, and she got rid of Kate. She did that, and at that point, Ari should have known what was going to happen at the final bonfire tribal.
Well, it was like 3 minutes later, so yeah.
yeah, but I'm saying like after that vote, he should be like, I know what she's doing. But yeah, you're right. It's kind of like too late. What are you going to do? So Cirie gets her way and gets Andy and Quentin. Quentin, who did not vote correctly the whole season, and Andy, who repeatedly told us, like almost every single episode, I trust Cirie. Cirie's definitely not a traitor. I am 100% on her side. And Andy's, I'm sure she's talking about every single player. That's just what they're showing us. Is what she's saying about Cirie. So Andy could have been correct about like Cody and Christian. Doesn't matter. It's what she's saying about Cirie. Cirie dragged 2 goats to the end, and she's Ari, who is not Cirie's choice. That was almost forced upon her by the stupid twist. It could have just been Cirie, Quentin, and Ari here, Andy, and that would have been it. So anyways, now the final, how this works. Can you explain how the fire works?
So when the final 4 go outside, and they each have a chest. In the chest are bags of powder, and one is red, and it's, I want to still want to banish someone out of the game, and when it's green is the game's done, I'm good, no, there's no traitors left, or I'm fine with ending the game here.
It's basically, do you want to end the game, and if you were incorrect, meaning there's still a traitor left in the game, the faithful don't gain money, traitors get whatever money there is, and then vice versa. If there's no traitors and there are only faithful. But this is where strategy can come in for the faithful. Let's say there is only faithful, as I said earlier. You could get rid of another faithful by convincing the others to get rid of them. It doesn't even matter if they're a traitor. You're just trying to get that pot smaller.
Right.
I mean, the pot bigger for you.
Right.
So there's strategy here if there's no traitors. But yes, in this case, they all get to throw a packet in up or whatever into the fire. And if it glows green, you vote to end the game. If it glows red, it means you want to do another vote. And only one person needs to go red for it to happen. And that's why I mean, every time they knew who to start with to get the most dramatic reveal. Because, they do it at the round table too, which is good. It makes for better TV. So, yeah, Ari throws it in. It's green. Andy throws it in. It's green. Quentin throws it in. Of course, it's green. It's Quentin. So, it's so funny because, like, each of them, like, Ari obviously is like, okay, splitting half the pod. He only did, like, 2 episodes worth of work as a traitor. Maybe, like, 3 days in the actual 2-week time. And then you get the other two who are like, oh, I feel so good about this group. I trust each and every single one of you. By the way, and this is something I want to mention before we get to Cirie. How can Andy and Quentin think to themselves, the 2 traitors we revealed were Christian and Cody, right? Both white men. How did they think that the show is not going to do any sort of diversity in their choice of traitors?
Yeah.
That would, like, and I know, like, this is what I mean, like, Quentin's smart, but it's like, and Andy seems smart as well, but it's like, you don't need to know it's Cirie to know it's Cirie.
Right.
You know what I mean? Or at least think it's Quentin, or at least think it's Andy. Like, that would have brought some diversity to the group. You're telling me you think it was just 2 white men and that's it? And I hate to say it like that, but like,
yeah,
it's
probably
2022 and when this show is filmed. Like, you got to consider that. If it's 2002, sure, yeah, whatever. Even 2012, probably. 2022, no. There's definitely gonna be somebody with diversity of some sort in that group, and they just 2 white men. Like, no way, man, come on. At least that's how I would have thought. Of course, I would have been on Cirie from episode 1. I'd be like, they got Cirie here. She has to be a traitor. There's no way she's not a traitor. I saw a snake in the grass.
Yeah.
So. And I would just go up to Stephenie. I'd be like, hey, Stephenie, are you a traitor by chance? And then I would read Stephenie's response to figure out she's a traitor. Taking me like 10 seconds to figure out those 2. Everyone else, I cannot say I would read anyone else. Just those 2 I know. I feel like just from watching the shows too much in terms of what their reads are. So not that I would claim to be good. So yeah, I'm just like, how did you not think that there'd be any diversity in the traitors? So anyways, they're all like so happy and giddy. Cirie votes red. She's like, actually, I still think there's a traitor here. And I'm like, oh my gosh, she's going greedy. This could work or not work. Keep in mind, at this point, I've been spoiled, unfortunately. Right. But either way, it was a ballsy move. And this is why I'm like, there's a few times a season that make me go, This is probably the biggest one for me. It makes me go, Ari just decides to walk. No vote. Just walks.
Well, he knows what's going to happen when he goes in. When they go back into vote, he knows that Andy and Quentin. Are they going to go back to
the round table, or are they just going to do it there?
I don't know where they would.
I think they're just going to vote there.
I think they were just going to vote there. Yeah. But he knows that Andy and Quentin are 1,000% on Cirie's side.
Just let it happen then.
Okay.
Why does he walk? It's so lame.
Because he makes this comment, and this is why I think he actually did it. Something to the effect of, I was recruited late. I've been a faithful the whole time. I just want the faithfuls to win. And kind of like, I'm on your side, guys. Cirie is not, because he knows they're about to find out.
Basically, he hands Cirie the win.
Yes, but he poisons her because he lets Andy and Quentin know, hey, I wish I could give you guys the money. I'm on your side.
If he's on their side, then why didn't he tell them that Cirie's the traitor?
He can't.
I'm saying if that's the logic, then why?
No, you're not allowed to say who the traitor is.
What are you talking about? Christian and Cody both did.
No, they didn't.
Christian and Cody, when they were voted out, what do you think Cirie was doing when she voted them out? She said they were traitors by voting them out. You can't say I know for a fact because I am. But you say, like, I think Cirie's a traitor.
All I'm saying is that I think Ari was trying to save as much face. He didn't need the money. He's like a rich celebrity.
The Bachelor on The Bachelor, which I'm sure.
So I think he was really just trying to say, oh, I'm a good guy. I'm a great guy. Remember this when Cirie stabbed you in the back. That. I don't like any of it. I
didn't like it for the show at all. I don't like it. I don't like it. I don't like that he was recruited, but like I can only do so much about that. But I don't like Ari's action of just walking here. It was so lame. That's why I mean these last 3 episodes, like, man, the first 7 were so good.
Honestly, I just think he was cutting to the chase. He knew what was about to happen, and he was trying to save face.
Yeah, and different kinds of people like me never would have done that. I would have gone all out and been like, oh yeah, you know what? It's Cirie. We're gonna do this, Cirie. It's Cirie. And like I would rather Cirie go down with me than me to go down and let her win. Personally, if I was in Ari's position, I would rather her and I both go down than for her to win the game.
Sure.
And that's nothing against Cirie. I really like Cirie. I just mean, like, if I am in Ari's position, she's going to do this to me after we agreed on everything. She's going to screw me over. I'm bringing her down with me. Whereas we could have split this 250. It could have been 125 each. What's wrong with 125, Cirie?
Yeah.
Cirie's already gotten a taste of that. She's already had 100,000 for being fan favorite. She wants the full 250. So anyways, good on Cirie. Great game by Cirie. I wish there was some sort of after show or some sort of like Q&A afterwards, like between the whole group for at least like 15 minutes of TV's time. And they could all have been at the round table or whatever. I don't care. Some sort of like, oh my gosh, it was you three the whole time. Like, you guys played so good. Or, man, Cirie, how did you pull this off? Like, there was no sort of like, it's just kind of like, okay, everyone walks off and like Andy and Quentin are in shock.
Yeah.
Ari walks off and they're like, oh, okay, cool. I'm surprised he was a traitor, but yeah, now we're going to win. So they all vote green, and Cirie is revealed to be the traitor. She's like, I'm a faithful at heart, but I'm actually a traitor. And Andy and Quentin, like, the worlds were destroyed. And then they just have to walk away.
Quentin didn't really, I mean, he was shocked.
Yeah.
But his world wasn't destroyed. Andy's world was destroyed.
Like, I'm like, she needs therapy now after that. Like, holy crap.
Yeah, it was rough.
Holy crap. But then it just like kind of ends the Alan and Cirie doing like a Christian side hug, and that's it. And it's like, what? I need some after show. What?
Yeah, it was really a lame ending to a pretty good series.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, no, I don't need it to be like Love is Blind where they have like 4 after shows and each one of them are way too long. Just like like a mini reunion right there, like Survivor does, where they have it on site. Like, it doesn't have to be later or live or anything. Just like they could have like had some sort of like chit chat and been like, I want to hear like from people who got eliminated early, unless they sent them home already, which I guess is possible.
Yeah.
Like, okay, like, were any of you actually on a Cirie at any point? Like, some sort of like, like, were we truly none of us ever on a Cirie? So besides Brandy, I guess, who threw it out there. I think it'd been
that would have been nice.
It would have been nice to have
a little bit of closure.
Yeah, I'd rather have had that than some of the things. But anyway, so good season overall. I hope season 2 is either all newbies, or if they're gonna do celebs again, bring on a couple more survivors, I guess. But let's get rid of the adding a traitor so late in the game twist.
Yeah, that was terrible.
Ugh on that part. So yeah. That's an hour and 40 of your life you're never getting back from us. Sorry, we took it from you.
You're welcome.
Unless you listened at like a faster speed, then it would be less time.
Smart.
I didn't learn. I was doing all these Survivor Secrets videos, listening to podcasts. I'm over here listening to 4 hours of a podcast. Mary's giving me a face of like, can we finish this? I'm doing this. I listened to 4 hours of a podcast before I learned on my phone I could make podcasts go faster.
Yeah.
I felt so dumb. I didn't learn that until I was on my like the last 3 or 4 secrets videos. I was like, oh yeah, I could do these not at normal speed. I like to listen to things and enjoy them, so I don't normally do that. But when it was for the Survivor Secrets videos, and I was doing like back to back to back to back to back to back, it was like, all right, I need to speed up this process a little bit because yeah, it's a lot. Especially when some people do not know how to just talk about relevant information to my videos. Don't they know I'm only doing this? I don't need 2 hours of you talking about other things. Talk about things relevant to secrets. Anyways, that's just me being dumb. So, all right. Well, thank you all for listening. The next time we're going to podcast, I believe, will be the Survivor 44 preview. Sometime early February. I assume the season starts March 1st. So we should be doing a cast analysis based on... Because we did that briefly. We did the 44 rumors, twists, cast stuff, but we'll actually get their bios and their official picks and everything of them. But yeah, we'll do a Survivor 44 preview podcast sometime in February. So we look forward to that. But in the meantime, insert my end phrase to every podcast here. Okay, bye.
Bye.
Okay, bye.